Buddy. Here we have a problem that says to use rational exponents to simplify the radical and assume the variable is positive. So to do this one, we can use this formula that says x to the m over n equals nth root of x to the m. And so m over n is a rational exponent. And so this is the appropriate formula to use for this problem. So to do this one, notice that there's no n in this case. And by the way, n is called an index. And so notice that this radical has no index. So it's understood to be a 2. So n is equal to 2. And here we have that m is the exponent, which is 16. And x is just x as in the formula. And so all we have to do is just rewrite this in the format x to the m over n. So with that, the square root of x to the 16 is x to the 16 over 2. And then simplifying this will be x to the 16 over 2 is 8. And so the answer is x to the 8. So the square root of x to the 16 is x to the 8. Now let's do the same trick for this problem right here that says the 15th root of 64 to the 5. Okay, and so let's see the formula once again. Right. So comparing the formula with the given problem, here we see now that the index is 15, which means n is 15. So the way to remember that n is the index is just to remember that index starts with n. Index starts with n. And so now we can say n is 15, and m is, in this case, it's going to be the exponent, which is 5. All right, and in this case, x is equal to 64. Okay, so plugging in, we know we have x to the, actually x in this case is 64, so we can write 64 instead. So x to the m over n now becomes 64 to the right, let me try this again. So m is equal to, once again, it was 5, right? So x to the m over n becomes 64 to the 5 over 15. All right, now we can reduce 5 over 15 to 1 over 3. And if I compare 64 to the 1 over 3, notice here in this case now, m is 1 and n is 3. Now to simplify this, it might be easier to see this in terms of a radical. And so let's rewrite this in the terms of a radical. And so doing that, we'll have cube root of, and then x to the, so that'll still be 64. But this time now, m is going to be 1. So 64 to the 1. All right. But now 64 to the 1 is 64. And now we know that cube root of 64 is what? Is equal to 4. And so the final answer is going to be 4. And so if we raise 64 to the 5 and then take the 15th root of that, we are guaranteed that the answer is 4. And that's how to use rational exponents to simplify a radical.